What does Zyn really give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but also real freedom to do more of what you love, when and where you want to do it. Why bring Zyn along for the ride? Because America's #1 nicotine pouch opens up all the possibilities of right now. With Zyn, you don't just find freedom, you keep finding it. Find your Zyn. Learn more at Zyn.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
There is more stuff about Giannis that I wanted to get into with Amin Elhassan, but he again is having some sort of stomach issues or whatever it is that he has to deal with all the time that makes him run in and out of the show. So what we're going to do is at the end of this hour, we are going to give you some concentrated Giannis talk from both Izzy and Amin on Giannis because so many people are interested and fascinated about what that is going to be, because there's going to be very little in sports that's going to be garnering more attention than who's going to add the instant hope of we can get Giannis at 30 years old coming off of his best season. So we're going to put that at the end of this hour, a little sprinkling of Oddball to go with your finals coverage. I saw a headline the other day that I thought had been written by Stugotz, and it made me wonder what Stugotz would make of the following headline, which read, "Coward decommits from Duke, will stay in the NBA draft."
Coward decommits from Duke, stays in the NBA draft? I have no idea what that means. Did Cooper Flagg decide to, what happened?
No, there's a player named Cedric Coward.
Really?
Yeah,
it's a terrible name.
I get it.
Poor guy.
It is a bad name, but is it as bad as Braves reliever Scott Blewett? There was a kicker named Blewett, too. Wasn't there at Pittsburgh or FSU or something? Wasn't there? I was trying to think. Like, we've talked before about Bob Walk being a terrible name for a pitcher, but I think Blewett's worse.
Kenny Pickett, not bad.
Chris Blewett.
Chris Blewett.
That's
not the joke. That's his name.
Right.
Chris Blewett.
The kicker's name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which was he from Pittsburgh or from FSU? Where am I remembering a Blewett?
He was on the Bears in 2019.
Not helpful. That's a different. That's
he went to Pitt.
Okay, thank you. Blewett, a terror. What? Put it on the poll as well. Blewett. Is it a worse name for a kicker or a reliever?
Lifetime 40% field goal percentage.
He's currently the kicker for the Houston Roughnecks.
He still has a job.
I want to play some funny sound for you guys from lacrosse. At the moment, the funniest sound that we have in our archive is Stugotz on ESPN calling a game as the color man and getting it precisely wrong on a game-winning situation. Here is Stugotz during his, this would be the greatest moment of your color commentary play-by-play career at ESPN or anywhere else, correct?
Greatest and only, yes.
Yes, well, you have others, but you have bad moments that are around our team. But in terms of national pride on anything you're talking about, you calling a lacrosse game on ESPN is a broadcasting highlight for you.
And for context here, he's talking about Sam Apuzzo, who's, I believe, one of the best players in this.
At the time, she was the best player in the world, yes.
And you're saying here in this analysis, like late in the game, they shouldn't go to her.
They were doing that the entire game. They were using Sam as a decoy, and everyone else was scoring the goals. And so I figured they would, stick with what got them there.
Let's see if what Stugotz says should happen happened.
So I've noticed the last couple of BC possessions where it seems like they've tried to force Sam. Sam tried to force something. I'd rather see someone other than Sam get the shot here. And Brick, what I mean by that is they've been better offensively today when Sam's not forcing the action, been more of a decoy than the one generating the offense. Apuzzo going. She's going.
Shot on goal, Boston College! On the shoulders of the Torontown winner, Sam Apuzzo will be heading to the national championship game for a third straight year.
She was due. I mean, still a bad decision. Great call, by the way.
The analysis by Stugotz sounded solid. The result is as bad as it could have gone.
It actually, like the way he delivered it was as well as I
was
heard
very
him do that.
confident.
Yes.
Right, yes.
So this next
That's
sound,
the analyst game, by the way. I mean,
Yes.
you got to say things, you got to fill time, and occasionally you're going to be wrong. I mean,
well, in this clip, we have Holy Cross versus Sacred Heart. This was a few weeks back.
Crusaders.
Big matchup. And this is one of those instances where some fan realizes, oh, look, there's a microphone right there that I can get on this broadcast. So what you're going to hear here is just normal broadcast. And then all of a sudden, you're going to hear something out of left field. And it's just a fan who found a microphone.
And now we'll get our penalty. So Sacred Heart to the man up, trailing by 2 at the beginning of this fourth quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
What you do.
Okay. I love
The announcer getting in there that quickly before the Rhea gets out in diarrhea. The announcer realizing the predicament that the broadcast is in and coming in with an okay.
2 at the beginning of this fourth quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
He lets him go, though. Does he think for a second? Is this a sideline reporter?
This is going to end well.
You know what?
I mean-
I've got to say that the way that he did the sing-song on a lot of people saying you wanted to hear him out. And it's not until he got to diarrhea, the key word that closes out the conversation, that things became problematic.
2 at the beginning of this fourth quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
Fairness, that person's not saying it, just reporting. A lot of people
A lot
are
of
saying
people
it.
are,
Yeah.
and there's a live mic. I mean,
Yeah.
But
right.
I've got to tell you, though, that once you've started with a lot of people saying, you got to get to the end of it. Like, you can't cut that person off. You got to find out what a lot of people are saying. Perfect execution by the stray ancillary sound of the person who got to the microphone and teased the broadcaster just enough to get to the word diarrhea. And then the broadcaster's like, okay.
How did he know the timing? Because this guy like starts talking right as they
perfect.
stop. It's
It's perfect.
He can't hear the broadcast.
It's wonderful.
2 at the beginning of this fourth quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
I'm glad they played through it. Yeah. If they do have diarrhea.
Reckless speculation. I have some reckless speculation. That person sounds a lot. Wait, should I do it? Should I?
Hold on a second. Hold on. You can't do this
Yep,
this
just
way.
wait
What are
a
you
second.
doing? Quit being irresponsible.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
That sounded like Sarah Spain.
Wow.
The person who says "lot," play it again. Sounds like Sarah Spain.
Doesn't sound
Hold
like
on.
Sarah
Let's hear him out.
Spain.
2 at the beginning of this fourth quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we
It
apologize
sounds like
for
Hanley,
our
who
crowd
Josh
mic.
Allen married.
I can hear a little bit of it.
No, I don't.
little
I
bit.
don't
Being a
hear
good
what you're
teammate,
saying.
Tony.
It's the
I think though
playfulness of Sarah.
we can all agree. I believe that the sing-song nature of that fan,
people.
combined with the accusation that ends with spraying liquid shit, is perfect. Made better only by the announcer's
Well, okay.
discomfort comedically. Right
2 at the
after.
beginning of this fourth quarter.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
I hear it more.
I don't.
It's into Spanish there.
I'm more
he
confused
says
than
it,
ever.
yeah.
I mean,
It sounds exactly like Sarah Spain when she's trying to do like Chicago accent Sarah Spain.
Also, probably an inside job, right? How do you know where that microphone is and what that microphone is for? I'm not saying the person knew or the broadcaster knew, but someone knew and told someone who told someone else what that was for. And that's how that happened. Because how else would you do that as a broadcaster?
I'm fine about that investigation. I'd also like a TV detective show where Pablo Torre shows up and happens to have a few questions for you about everything that happened there. I believe that not only was it an inside job that the participant knew that a microphone was nearby, I believe it was practiced. That sentence was practiced. The
Wow.
conclusion of
Rehearsed.
diarrhea was practiced. And the sing-song way that makes it that you have to stay within it till the end of the thought. I believe all of that is something that was not impromptu, that was something that was given a lot of consideration. And I also believe that it's an excellent insult to file at Sacred Heart. To say that a lot of people are saying that Sacred Heart as an institution has digestive issues, that when they're in private, they have liquid shit because they can't control their bowels.
Is that an insult?
Yes.
Why?
To accuse someone of having diarrhea.
I love a good diarrhea.
Put it on the poll at Lebatard
You
Show.
can't control it.
I feel good after.
Right.
A day or two after I have it, I'm good.
Yeah.
Looking light.
I go instantly.
good.
I'd say 5 minutes after I feel good.
Yep.
No way.
It's kind of like throwing up afterwards.
Yeah.
Much better.
Oh, so much better than a diet, too.
Cagalitroso is a great Spanish insult. Cagalera is funnier as a word in Spanish than diarrhea is in English. And I believe it is an insult to accuse someone of having diarrhea. Put it on the poll at Lebatard Show. If you've accused
Just a
someone
fact.
of having diarrhea, are you aspiring to insult them?
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
That okay is just okay.
Dan, I have something here that just hit me, but I think Amin can help.
Careful.
Me. So Amin, when you make a shot in a basketball game, that's a random shot that shouldn't have gone in, what do you call it?
Happy birthday, usually what you say to the guy who shot it, right?
A
Lucky
cag,
shot.
right? You call it a cag.
A cag?
Yeah, a cag.
Wow.
That is something
Is
that's
that just-
actually uniquely Miami.
Is that a Miami
Tony,
thing?
excellent, because I did not know until this moment. We've talked before about CAG being something that Hispanics in Miami say, and we've also talked before about whether that is just, as Billy likes to say, a uniquely Miami expression. But I really didn't know until right now that
It's cagalera.
I did not know that to CAG, it's to get lucky on a basketball shot or to get lucky in general. I did not know that was shortened for cagalera for diarrhea in Spanish.
Yes,
First time
I thought-
learning of that.
When I play basketball, when we've always played basketball in here, like, oh, you made that shot from half court, it's a cag. Or you made the shot that banks off the side when you're shooting from the angle, it's a cag.
You always used to say happy birthday, like to indicate, like, okay.
Now you know it's
Lucky.
a cag.
Lucky day.
So
diarrhea.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Lebatard Show. What do you say on a lucky bank shot in basketball? Happy birthday, CAG, or banks open?
How long have you been hearing cag though, Dan?
Banks open is only when you're the one who made it. Right? When you make the bank shot,
You
say-
have to bank it, right?
You got to bank it. You
Yes.
said banks open.
Banks
and
open.
Extra points if you
Right.
do it either at night
Right.
or on the weekend.
Yes.
Do it on a Sunday run. Oh my God, banks open.
Do you guys not assume? Cade Cunningham hit a game winner earlier this year where it was from 3 and he banked it in.
Here against the Heat?
I would think that for a basketball player, it's slightly diluted to hit the game winner that way. Just a little, that it's not quite as great
If
as
there was no backboard, do you know how far past the rim that ball would go?
But I'm maintaining, though, that not all game winners are equal. That if a player in the NBA makes one on a bank, it feels plenty good, but it doesn't feel as good as making it clean.
Dan, the unwritten rule is if you hit a game or buzzer-beating bank shot that you did not mean to bank, you have to shrug and smile like, oh my God, how lucky. You have to acknowledge that wasn't on purpose. Now, if you're like Tim Duncan falling away and you hit that bank shot, bank's open.
Yeah.
Well, he's the only one who has 24/7 bank hours all over the world, any country, any time of
Dirk
day.
had extended hours as well.
Not the
extended
same.
hours.
No, he can get extended hours, but only Tim Duncan's got that private banker that's always answering.
Always on call.
when he's got a call.
Him and you, Dan.
I also imagine Tim Duncan walking into a bank.
Same.
I'm not making up what I'm telling you
We
from
know.
yesterday. But I think you guys imagine me leaving with a garbage bag that has a dollar bill sign on the side, and it's not that.
That wouldn't be smart.
It was just a stack of bills that were wrapped in a small garbage bag. It was not.
I had you like Santa Claus. The
I know.
thing was over your
Yeah.
shoulder. There was so
I know.
much
Money
cash.
flowing
There
out.
only be one thing.
Because remember, guys, it's too much money to take out from an ATM, apparently. So it's got to be an amount of money.
The daily limit's $600 on an ATM.
How much you spend a day in cash?
Again, I'm not doing it for the day.
What's a daily limit?
You keep doing that. Yeah, but I don't want to have to go back to the bank. Like
I don't think you like going to the bank.
I don't
I think you like interacting.
Yeah,
you talk to your teller. Hey, Phyllis, how's it going?
I sometimes go into the bank and just don't even take out any money. I make them say out loud how much I got in here, and then I leave.
Well, I always learn my bank limits at a casino when it's like you can't take any more out.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They shame you.
It's just like, yeah, you've taken.
I could have swore I had more.
They're
like,
doing
buddy,
it for you, Chris.
Hey, buddy, you have a family.
I wish I had a spot like the bank or whatever where I just kind of go and hang out. Like that's my waiting room. I don't really have business.
How about the bakery that you went to get your pastelitos?
Nah.
They pulled up a picture, by the way.
See, not a home bakery, Dan. I knew it.
This is Dan's money bag from yesterday.
It was a very small bag that I put in my pocket, but it was that material of trash bag. And it was I didn't even understand what was happening. It felt like I was doing something illegal. They simply,
you felt alive.
They simply gave me, it was raining so hard. I don't know where else this is happening. It must be happening all over the world.
Hold on, Dan.
Are you calling a 20?
I am.
What are you doing?
I'm calling 20. Hold on. Dan, you said it was wrapped in the plastic and then you put it in your pocket, right? Then if it's in your pocket, why does it need to be wrapped from plastic to protect from the rain? It's in your pocket.
Again, this is the teller not knowing where I was going to put it or if I was going to put it in my pocket.
Phyllis.
Big pockets.
It's not, what are you doing?
Phyllis is the name of the teller in the story we were just telling.
Yeah.
Why did you just blurt?
It was a callback.
Yeah, to the story.
That's
you walk
your
in,
teller.
hey, Phyllis, how's it going? I'm
How
here
are the
for
kids?
usual.
Yeah.
Exactly. Phyllis gives you some mints.
Are we
On
still
with your day.
making Phyllis's?
Well,
Only at the bank.
Do we do mints at banks?
yeah. And
Really?
and banks, I have a question for you guys.
mint.
On a technicality,
We're gonna take a full time out here.
you go into the bank. Banks have pens.
You know what? I'm going to take an 8-minute timeout.
Well, I mean, that's rude. You go and you have
8 minutes.
you go and a lot of banks have pens now that are on those chains so they don't get lost,
so you
whatever.
don't steal the pen, yeah.
But if it's the cup and it says like Regions Bank, I don't even know if that's still a bank, but whatever. The bank is there and it's all a bunch of pens in a pen cup, right? And you take the pen and then you go home. Did you rob a bank?
Oh, man, that's...
You robbed something from the bank.
Did you rob
Hold
a
on,
bank?
hold on. I'm following you here, Billy. Now I have some follow-up questions. The pen, does it have like a piece of paper at the end and a lot of scotch tape around it?
No,
Or is it
not
just,
this one. This is a high-end bank.
Just a regular pen?
It's a cup of pens. It has
Nope.
a pen in it. You take the pen.
It's locked in with one of those little tiny ball and socket
No.
pens.
No.
He's saying
not
it's a
that one.
loose pen.
Loose
That's what
pen.
he's
Loose
saying.
pen.
Yes, a loose
but
pen.
it has the
little
bank's name on
Love
it.
the little ball
There you
and
go.
socket.
That was
thing.
the second question.
It's
Second
branded,
question, if
yeah.
it's branded,
Branded.
and it's in a cup, that's yours to take, man.
Really?
Thank you for banking with us.
Okay, what if it was on the chain and you're in a pinch and you go and you take it off
No,
and
now
then you walk out?
Now you rob
If it's
the
on
bank.
a
Then you rob
chain,
the
you're
bank.
stealing. Yes.
You're a bank robber.
Right. They chained it there for a reason.
The in and out bandit.
They don't want you to take it.
One of the things COVID did to us was at these doctor offices, all appointments now, when you sign in anywhere, it's here's the clean cup, and then when you're done with it, put it in this cup. We're done with that, right? Can we get back to just cups?
I don't
Put the
think-
pens in the cups.
Chris, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think anyone ever followed the rules on that one. anyway.
Sometimes I go crazy. I grab from the dirty cup.
What's the cup situation?
They have two cups. They have pens in one cup, and it says clean.
They sanitize pens now, so
And
it's
then-
like there's a cup full of pens. You take one. Once you sign with it, put it into the dirty
Into
cup.
the next
Chris,
cup.
I never dealt
Chris,
with
hold
that.
on.
I'm with Chris. Let's just
Hold
sign
on.
it and put it back in
Hold
the
on.
cup. I mean,
Chris, you have them sanitizing. I have them just switching the cups like this. All right, this one's full now.
to give the appearance of
The clean is the
sanitizing.
dirty, and the dirty is the
At this
clean.
point, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, what are we
You're
doing
not
here?
cleaning
The
shit.
idea of someone still to like, let me. Well, yeah.
I wonder what the day was. Like, what was the day that you're like, you know what? I'm done with this. Because, like, you know how they tell you, like, oh, this is the last time you ever play outside with your brother and sister. This is the last time you were in your yard and you ever played. You didn't realize it at its time. Like, those sentimental, like, posts, whatever. There was a day for everyone where you're like, you know what? I'm done with these protocols. Not for me anymore. I'm moving on. I'm no longer wiping down my groceries with wipes. I'm no longer sanitizing my pens after I go to the doctor.
I did mine about 6 months before I admitted publicly.
Well, that was everyone's move, right?
We were still in COVID.
We would come on the air, we're like, how dare people go to concerts? And then this weekend, like, oh, we're going to go see this weekend.
I live in Arizona and I work in Florida, and I can tell you unequivocally that there are plenty of people where it never began. Yeah. They just get. I remember that first day.
Tampa.
First day I went outside and I was like, okay, I got to go to the grocery store, and I masked up and I had everything, and I thought, like, I'm going to go to Costco and it's going to be empty. That shit was so packed. The parking lot looked like Black Friday. Everyone was in there. Nobody masked up. Everyone just running around coughing and touching things. It was crazy.
God bless America.
What was the dumbest thing we did in that? I'm going to say that I'm just going to speak for myself.
Wow.
The dumbest thing I did during COVID was hold my breath while walking by someone in a grocery store.
Oh, you meant that. I thought you meant the most reckless thing you did.
Like I'm
Wait, you actually did this?
I'm not playing that
Like
game.
took the job.
Wait, hold on. I want to hear more about this. You were walking through the grocery store.
And as if I was going in an aisle and someone was passing me, I would
Yeah.
I don't want to
you
breathe
did that
in.
as well?
Yeah, of course.
job.
A lot of people were doing
I would
that.
Was
walk
the other
off.
person doing it to you?
I would walk off the sidewalk onto like grass mounds
Yes.
and wait for people. I'm 6 feet, and I would go up and things, and I was like off-roading just with my legs.
I think the wiping down of the milk carton was pretty dumb.
Yep, that was
like,
dumb.
I was like washing milk cartons, and and then like, oh, I missed the spot. I got to go back and scrub it all over.
But we had the indoor-outdoor clothes also, right? I think that was like a common thing.
I don't think I ever did that.
I don't like. Well, yeah, you're talking about taking off your clothes before you even enter the house, right?
Well, I was in an apartment, so like I would come in and then like disrobe right in the doorway and just
Hell
like
yeah.
walk through and
What a time.
Baby.
go put on my other clothes. How do you think us now with young children that are growing up, when they like publish like the new history books or whatever that come out, in like 20 years, because history really only happens in like 20-year increments as far as schools go, I think, right? Like it's like, well, this one was printed in 2004, so hopefully nothing happens until 2030 because that's when the new edition is coming out. We're not updating any history between now and then, right?
No chance.
So when this comes out and is like published and your kids are in, I don't know, 7th grade, 8th grade or whatever, and it's like, so in 2020, right? 2020, it's this worldwide pandemic and no one could leave the house and you had to be in there. And then your kids are like, you went through this? What's the play? Let's all get on the same page here. So we tell our, what is the play?
Make it seem worse.
A lot of video games.
Are we
seem
like, man, it was, you're never going to experience anything like this. Hopefully,
Right.
if you're lucky, you will never experience anything like this. You'll be like, man, it's kind of chill,
I'm not telling the truth.
Talk to people, got to work from home for a
You're
while.
going to do the 15 miles to school every day
Oh
kind
my
of thing?
God!
We're still there.
This is the thing. Like my kids, obviously they went through it. They were in school when it happened. But like my grandchildren, I'm going to tell them like, well, it was a crazy time, and it'll be like Mad Max. I'm going to describe Mad Max.
Bodies were on the floor in the streets.
We were going around like people. One guy had a guitar and he was
Right.
kind of like leaning back and forth on the front of this truck.
There was a Tiger King.
And I mean, you have to talk about how, like, the measures you went to protect the grandchildren, the kids, everything, right?
Well, I think the devil is in the details, right? Like, obviously, the medical stuff was very serious. A lot of people lost their lives. We're not making light of that. But once we get to, like, the toilet paper section of the history, that's when it's like, and you had to go, and there wasn't toilet paper for weeks on end. And you had to go buy toilet paper, and you'd have to get a tip from someone. This is where the toilet paper is. This is where the good stuff is. That's where I had to go to Charmin. That's where the Angel Soft was.
In New York, they used to, at the end of every day, they would open their windows and take pots and pans and clang them.
Oh, that was so
like
annoying.
to celebrate like the people.
Not
who
in New
work-
York, but like the Italian cities where they all like decide, oh, you know what? We all play the trombone now. And it's like, I would have moved. I would have moved. Honestly, you open the window like, it's like, shut the fuck up.
You're enjoying your silence.
I can't get out of my
Right,
house.
right.
Stop. You guys are terrible with your instruments. Stop it.
Content creators exploded in 2020. Like that's what really happened. Everyone after that went out and bought a Shure mic and a webcam.
The Shure mic.
And that's when everything fell
I
apart.
love it.
Great year for
Yes.
Shure mics and blue mics. Oh, my God.
M weights, free weights. Yeah.
Oh, free weights?
They never recovered, by the way. I wanted to get a pair of dumbbells for the house, like $75 each. I'm like,
Oh, my God,
$150
yeah.
for 25 pounds? Give me a
No,
break.
and then you're like, you know what? It's going to go back. And it never did. It
Sure,
never went
never did.
back.
Just like
Sure
houses.
must have like meetings weekly of like how do we get the pandemic back?
Oh, Zoom for sure is out there trying to like put out diseases into the world,
The
right?
pandemic made Zoom, though.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
You know who made
Killed Skype somehow.
Wait, so
Skype,
you guys
I mean,
are
geez.
accusing
Come on,
Zoom
Skype.
of trying to create another
Get your act together,
pandemic?
Skype.
Skype
Not
really
trying
dropped the
to,
ball.
but they're thinking like,
You know who made a killing off of the Zoom blowing up? Andre Iguodala. He was
Really?
invested before
Iggy.
the pandemic.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Get out of here.
Dude, man, the guy's just smart.
Seems like he knew something.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Maybe it's that. Maybe it was an inside job. Golden State Warriors did this. You think Steph Curry knew?
The luck of Andre Iguodala. I mean, seriously.
It's not luck. He's shrewd.
I'm sure he has some losers in there.
Karl Anthony Towns?
Coming up next, Amin, Oddball, set it up for the people.
We're talking about Giannis destinations, folks. Is he coming to Toronto? Is he coming to New York? Is he coming right here to Miami? We're going to look at it. We're going to talk about it. Me and Izzy. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah. We all think we know where our money's going until you actually look for it. And it happened to me between food delivery, teeth earrings for the baby, random Amazon orders. Life and things add up fast. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's like having my own personal CEO, but one that doesn't judge me for ordering sushi 4 nights in a row. Listen, my wife really likes spicy tuna right now. What do you want me to tell you? Monarch brings all your accounts, credit cards, and investments together so you finally get the full picture. We started using it to track our spending and set goals that feel real. And you can see everything clearly, what we're spending, what you're saving, and what you should be doing. And it's not about restricting you, it's about helping you build the life you want. Whether you're juggling money solo or trying to get on the same page with someone else, Monarch makes it simple. It's why over 1 million households are using it and why the Wall Street Journal named it the best budgeting app of 2025. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code Dan at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code Dan.
What does Zyn really give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but also real freedom to do more of what you love, when and where you want to do it. Why bring Zyn along for the ride? Because America's #1 nicotine pouch opens up all the possibilities of right now. With Zyn, you don't just find freedom, you keep finding it. Find your Zyn. Learn more at Zyn.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, y'all. The Super Bowl is in the rearview mirror. The draft is come and gone. So now what?
Now it's time to get the crew together. You keep the fandom energy going. It doesn't stop when the Super Bowl's gone. We gather.
Exactly. And look, just because the pads are off doesn't mean game day stops. Around here, we do game days, even in the off season. And what better way to do that than with a cold drink and your people around?
You've heard it all season long. Football is not a solo thing. This is not a me thing. This is not an I thing. This is a we thing.
There is no I in fandom, baby. So grab your crew, grab some Smirnoff, and get into that off-season groove. Summer workouts, training camp rumors, fantasy football prep. It's all coming, folks.
And listen, if you're going to sip something while plotting your team's comeback, Smirnoff's got you. It's the perfect vodka for crafting cocktails that are easy and tasty for anyone 21 and up.
Smirnoff isn't just a vodka. It's the #1 vodka in the world and the official partner of the NFL. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Dan Le Batard.
You getting started on the breakfast flan?
Oh, man. I've been singing a song to myself all morning long. Breakfast flan.
Stugotz.
Have you never heard the breakfast flan song?
No, hit me with it.
Okay. I wish I had some breakfast flan. Breakfast flan. Where can I find a breakfast like that?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Izzy, finals are in a couple of days. We got that little dead period. Media day hasn't happened yet, so there's not enough stuff to talk about. So what we're going to talk about is apparently Giannis Antetokounmpo could be on the move. That's the thing that everyone's talking about because he is the biggest superstar on the market. The free agency market, not really sexy. Giannis, that's sexy.
Yes.
And so we've got to find the sexiest location for sexy Giannis to be sexy under the bright lights. And we start, of course, on Broadway, right?
Right. With the New York Knicks, because not just because they were recently eliminated, not just because when Giannis was eliminated, he was seen walking the streets of New York City, but because the spokesman for New York, Stephen A. Smith, said something in regard to Giannis. And we have the quote, but we also have sound of the quote. So here it is.
Sure, let's play the sound. If you've got an opportunity to get Giannis, I don't give a damn who you have to give up to get him. You do it.
That was Stephen A. Smith himself. I mean, we mentioned it yesterday. You like the fit. I don't know of a team that's going to say, hey, I don't like the fit of Giannis, but you like the fit of Giannis in New York. You think what level of possibility is this?
Let me be clear. Let's start with one thing and one thing only, which is we're not talking about what you got to give up to get him. We're just talking about he's here.
Okay.
How does he fit? I think he fits pretty good. Look, the Knicks clearly need a couple of things. Number one, they need consistent offensive production that's not named Jalen Brunson.
Right.
Number two, they need someone who can be active defensively.
Ideally, that same player.
Same player, yes. And so Giannis fulfills those things. Giannis, on his part, is not known as a closer because of his shooting struggles, because his free throw struggles. Who can forget bricking for chicken?
Who can forget Chris Whittingham famously saying that Giannis was a number 2 to Chris Middleton?
I could forget it. I want to forget it.
Let's all forget that.
I never
Ready?
want to remember that.
Okay, never remember that one again.
But the bricking for chicken thing is real, right? And so Jalen Brunson, the best closer in the league, would, in theory, be a great fit. Counterpoint, that's what we said about Damian Lillard 2 years ago.
True. Although I will say that Jalen is a different style of player, maybe not hunting for threes as often as Damian does, which probably would be a bad thing, right? Wouldn't that clog up the paint if you're the New York Knicks, if Jalen wants to drive all the time, but so does Giannis? Look, I don't think... If you're talking about not worrying about who you give up for him, you can't really discuss it with the Knicks because you're probably going to have to give up Karl Anthony Towns, which most people wouldn't really say that, like, not even give it a second thought. Of course, you make that trade. And so if you're upgrading from Cat to Giannis, it doesn't matter if it fits particularly well. You just do it.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, any other combination of people too, because again, Giannis is a transcendent type player who just had the best season of his career. A lot of people are like, oh, he's past his prime. I'm like, nope, you're looking at his prime right now.
Can we do that really quick? Because again, I grew up in a time where the prime was pretty much detailed. Like it was explained, hey, you're in your prime from about the ages of 26, 27 to about 32. Like 33 was the high end of it. He's still 30 years old, to be honest. And in today's age where you feel like we're extending ourselves beyond our prime, you could imagine his prime being well into 35, 36. So that conversation to me is out the window.
Well, I mean, that's like Michael Jordan's prime was like, most people would have gone by the definition, the first three-peat, but he was more dominant in the second three-peat. Certainly a smarter, more cerebral player. And the Bulls were way more successful despite not having way more talent than they did in the first three-peat. Yeah, I would say that the prime is whenever you're playing your best basketball. That's when it is.
So it's clear he would be great and welcomed and they'd tear down the streets in New York.
Yes.
What about Miami? Since we're here, they've always been tied to Giannis back when he was available the first time, reportedly. He's got some ties to Bam Adebayo.
They asked him, hey, what are your favorite cities? Your favorite place in the league? You know, it's on Twitter. And he responded, unsolicited, he said, Florida cities.
Yes. But this feels like a situation where Miami is just out of its depth, right? Not only when you have the Bucks GM saying, or reportedly taking the approach of we're going to tear down the roster or strip clean the roster of whoever we trade him to. Miami, A, doesn't really have a very attractive roster, and B, hasn't really shown the willingness to part with some of those attractive pieces. So it's really a non-starter, isn't it?
It reminds me of the line from Dumb and Dumber where they break into Lloyd Christmas's apartment because they're looking for the briefcase. And
like most other movies, I've only seen this the one time, so you're going to have to remind me of the line.
It's the two henchmen, and they walk in, and the one henchman says, maybe we like make a mess of the place to send a message. And the second henchwoman, I should say, looks around and says, I don't think they're going to get that message, right? It's like, we're going to strip clean to send them a message. And then you look around like,
it's pretty squeaky clean already.
As is if you're Miami. Look, Bam Adebayo is not something to sneeze at as far as a starting point, right?
Right.
If it's Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, I mean, it's pretty cool.
It might as well be an expansion franchise if you're the Miami Heat, getting Giannis and stripping everybody else.
Right. But the flip side of it is, if you're the Miami Heat, your claim to fame is we make lemonade out of lemons, right? We are the ones that squeeze blood out of a rock. And so you tell Giannis, look, we'll get this thing operational around you. We'll get tough guys who are going to play well. And obviously, you're coached by the best coach perhaps in the entire NBA, in Eric Spoelstra. That's your sales pitch. Unfortunately, I don't think it's the Giannis sales pitch that they'd have to worry about. It's the Bucks sales pitch where you're telling them, hey, this is the best you can do for a Giannis offer.
All right, so I don't know how much Giannis cares about repeating somebody else's path, but this was a LeBron path, right, to Miami. What about the Raptors? Well, we had the Kawhi Leonard path there, obviously won the championship, and there has been a little bit of smoke when it comes to the Raptors and the possibility of him heading there.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely a connection, right? There's very famous video of the Raptors war room on draft day 2013, trying to move up because they're trying to get to Giannis. They're trying to get to Giannis, and unfortunately, they could not. They just miss him. And so, because the Bucks take him at, I believe it was 15, I want to say
18.
18, right? So, he knows, Giannis knows for a fact, they love him, right? Masai specifically loves him. Masai's Nigerian. Giannis obviously comes from a Nigerian family.
You're right at 15, by the way. There was somebody else famously taken at 18, but that's another show.
Okay. You've got that connection there. Masai reportedly helped Giannis get his visa when he first came over here. So there's a lot of connections. And then obviously the Raptors have a history of going after players of African descent with, Siakam, OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, just to name a few from the conference finals alone, right?
Big sneeze.
And so I think there is definitely an affinity there. Again, it would be the kind of same situation we're talking about Miami. Is like, Giannis, are you prepared to go to what is essentially a rebuild? And it comes back down to, I trust the front office and I trust the coaching. Now, the difference between Miami and Toronto is that Toronto actually has some stuff that's a little bit more savory to offer.
Some stuff, or not so sweet, but savory. Scotty Barnes, right, would be future face of the NBA, according to his coach.
Shout out, Coach.
It seems like a possible, obviously, somebody that the Bucks would want back. And this was a quote from Brian Windhorst really quick, where he said that the Raptors are trying to look for a big fish. So you would imagine that, and this is also Doug Smith, who's been at it forever at the Toronto Star. He reported Giannis and the Raptors had some mutual interest there. So there is, like I said, a lot of smoke there. I don't think Giannis really cares about repeating somebody else's path. It is what it is, right? He's already done it in Milwaukee, so nobody has the path that he took. But to me, you're right. It's one of those situations where it's like the Miami Heat. If you give up on Scotty Barnes, what do we really have there? It's not like a Kawhi Leonard situation where he was forced to go over there and didn't have an option.
If I'm the Toronto Raptors, you know what? I don't, as I'm trying to, all these people are trying to court John Horst, the GM of the Bucks. Say, come on. Oh, man, future fits the league, Scotty Barnes. You know what I don't want them to see? The video of Scotty Barnes rollerblading, because he's like, Scotty's like a 5-tool player, and he's young. He's the sky's limit. He was an all-star for the first time this year, and then the video comes out and you're like,
one of those tools is not rollerblading, apparently. And this, of course, is not Toronto. You can tell by looking at it. This is in Florida, and this is very much a Florida thing. Like, Scotty's just sitting on his couch and saying, you know what? I'm going to try rollerblading in the middle of a busy intersection.
Yeah, one of his teammates posted this and said, like, he actually fell immediately before this video starts, which totally believable.
He's going to mess up that face of the NBA.
All right, Izzy. Let's go ahead and tee up the next possible destination.
Where could that be?
Houston.
What?
Yeah.
The Houston Rockets give up on their homegrown talent that they clearly have enough of to win a championship just for this guy? No, I'm kidding. Of course, I do think that the Rockets should look into, like, they've already gone from up and coming team to team that needs a quote unquote like finishing piece, if you will. Obviously, Giannis is more than that. They would have to, probably give up on Jabari Smith Jr., probably Jalen Green, probably one of those young guys on the bench, maybe a Cam Whitmore, which I think if you're a Houston Rockets fan, you're saying, okay, fine. Like, I'm fine with that. Just leave me Sengun, leave me maybe the backcourt if you want, but if you want to touch the backcourt too, leave me Amen Thompson. If you want to bring on Giannis, do it, because that is like win the West automatically.
It's like in Half-Baked when they break the news to Kenny that, hey, we found a way to post your bail.
I saw the movie just once. You're going to have to tell me exactly what happens.
We gotta bail you out, Kenny, but it's going to involve selling drugs. I know you frown upon that. And Kenny's like, go, sell drugs. Do what I need to do. Get me out of here.
All right, well, I think we have to get the headlines, but there is a possibility that the Thunder?
Let's do headlines tomorrow. Let's finish out with the San Antonio Spurs. How about that? You want to put them next to Wembanyama and then have like 18 million feet of just length everywhere on the court. They'll allow like 14 points a game. This is the most beautiful version of defensive basketball we've ever seen, no?
So we're moving on from we're not talking about who they have to give up. We're just talking about the vision.
Yeah.
So they would effectively be like the anti-Warriors of 2015, God. Right? Yeah. You won with all that shooting and not that much size. We win with nothing but size and defense. Yeah. And you know what? Every once in a while, make a three-pointer. Like that to me is, if you want to go ahead and just talk about leaving your imprint and like changing the game. You won your little championship in Milwaukee. You became, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lew Alcindor, and now you're going to do absolutely wild shit with the San Antonio Spurs. That to me is the gamble of all gambles and the move to make.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, again, it's like Robinson and Duncan being together, where Robinson's still a great player, but then you got Duncan coming up in his prime.
All right, well, we got one last thing. We got another soundbite from Stephen A. Smith. Turns out he was watching Oddball live.
All right. Amin Hassan's impersonation of me is a defamatory abomination of linguistic gibberish. His acting is almost as bad as this ridiculous man's rollerblading abilities. They should both stay off the weed.
Look, I've been a colleague of Amin Hassan's for a long time, and I don't think I've actually seen him smoke anything. It's not really his drug of choice.
I don't think that was an actual Stephen A. Smith quote.
Really? Really? So I shouldn't defend you blindly?
I'm going on a limb and think that one was doctored.
All right.
Look at him rollerblade. He looks like a baby giraffe.